So I actually just finished recording the other one, and I looked at how many priest cards, or how many, I guess, cards in general are in each class, and we're just gonna power through and get priest and maybe even hunter done tonight before I call it, because, well, might as well, right? So let's look at the priest cards. First up, we got Shield of Ascara. This is a 6 mana, 4/8 Draenei, Taunt, Divine Shield, and Lifesteal. None of these affect Velen because it is not a battle cry, it's not a death rattle. However, it can actually be affected by Ascara. So, let's just really quickly talk about this. Taunt, Divine Shield, Lifesteal is a good combination. Means you could drop this pretty effectively on turn 6 and it protects you pretty decently, aside from like hard removal, in which case, didn't really matter what you dropped for 6 mana, it was never going to last. So it's pretty decent. Mixing that with Ascara, the next Draenei you play summons a copy of itself, makes that obviously better, and any other Draenei that you can play in Priest would be therefore pretty decent. Although to be fair, Ascara doesn't synergize extremely well. I mean, it's not like it's bad. It's not you don't get the battle cry effect. Hold on, let me double check. I need to see Velen. Hold on one second here. We're gonna go to neutral again. I want to double check Velen. Velen is Death Rattle trigger the battle cries. Okay, so you know what? Actually, it does synergize perfectly fine then with, oh, what am I doing? It synergizes perfectly fine with that then, because you're summoning 2 Velens for the price of 1. And the Hearthstone site is borked, so let me just refresh this. There we go. Oh, it's not in the order that I wanted it to be in anymore. Let me just go high to low. Okay, so Ascara, assuming you're wanting to run Draenei, Ascara is extremely good in Draenei build, I would say. Presuming that you don't drop this and then drop like a 1 cost Draenei, like you're getting a decent amount of value. I guess stats are maybe marginally lower than you would want to. Like, this is kind of a similar thing to a lot of other stuff that I'm talking about, right? Where, like, if you can afford to play a 5 mana 4/5 on turn 5, then on turn 6 or 7, whether you play Shield of Ascara or just Velen himself, you're getting a lot of value out of that battle cry. But obviously, if you're behind, then you can't really afford to play Ascara, in which case it's bad. So if there's a bunch of aggro, then that makes it worse. But pretty cool card. Once again, there's a lot of Draenei. I guess just looking at the Draenei options, considering we've seen all the neutrals and now we've seen some of the ones from Priest. I guess let me look at the other Priest Draenei and then we'll come back to the other stuff. Anchorite. 3 mana, 2/4. Whenever another minion is overhealed, give it that much extra health. Not a battle cry, not a death rattle, therefore no synergy with Velen, but that is an extremely strong effect. Priest is able to overheal really easily. It's another minion, so it doesn't affect itself, so it's easy to remove. It's not 3 health though, so it's not as easy to remove, but at turn 3, I mean, this is probably a later game drop. Like, drop this, heal everything on your board for 2 or something like that, and now they all have +2 health. Pretty decent combo, I guess. And then lastly, we have Overzealous Healer. Death Rattle, or sorry, it's a 1 mana 3/3. Death Rattle restores 6 health to the enemy hero. Spell Burst silences minion. Okay. I really like that, actually. Although it's anti-synergy with Velen, because the Spell Burst doesn't get carried over to Velen, but the Death Rattle does, meaning that if you play this and then you want to play Velen later in the game, it's bad. But in non-Draenei decks, this would actually be pretty good, funnily enough. That is interesting, actually. And it says, in another universe, she's Genji's best friend. I guess that's... Is this supposed to be Moira, or is this supposed to be Mercy? Don't know. It looks more like Moira, just with like the hands like that or whatever, but... I mean, Overzealous Healer sounds more like a Mercy thing. It doesn't look anything like Mercy is the thing that's confusing me there. Anyways, that's the Draenei. So nothing super substantial for Velen here, like at all. None of these. This affects Velen. Actually, this affects Velen pretty well, though. Because that means you can get the effect multiple times of this. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, this doesn't affect Velen. This doesn't affect Velen except in a negative way, and this doesn't affect Velen. But each one of these cards is still good in its own way, I would say. Yeah, I could definitely see a Velen Priest deck popping up, and if not a Velen Priest, I still think that the synergy between Iskara and Shield of Iskara is pretty strong anyways, so there you go on that. I think that Mystified Tocha is a huge meme card. With it being in Priest, it's theoretically possible to try and like tailor things so that this is actually usable, but I mean, come on. This is just like a silly, you know, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy meme that they fit in here. I mean, even getting your hero an extra 12 health as a maximum. It's not a maximum, it's actually setting it. So, but the thing is, that would mean, let's say that you don't do any damage to your opponent and they do 18 damage to you. So this actually affects you, right? It then heals you for a ton. I just don't see you actually like landing in a situation where this is usable the majority of the time. It seems too difficult. So I think it's fun. It's a silly card. Not really useful at all. Cure or Kure, whatever, the Light Beyond. 3 mana, 3/3, Spellburst, summon a random 3-cost minion. Holy spells don't remove this Spellburst. This is why I have another tab up with all of the holy cards that are specifically in Priest, and I can actually unfilter this from Priest because technically you can get other holy spells, but just talking about deck building, there's a good amount of options for Priest in this expansion. Some of these don't see play all that much. Love Everlasting is a standout. Holy Nova, obviously. Power Word, Synchronize, Creation Protocol. Holy Springwater sees play. Some of these I think are from this expansion, so we can't tell necessarily yet. But definitely some good cards. Light Bomb, Harmonic Pop. Yeah, definitely some good stuff in there. So more than enough options to repeatedly trigger this. The biggest issue with that is it's an easy target. 3 mana, 3/3. Like, you're probably going to get all of your value out of this if you play it on turn 10 and then just drop as many spells as you can that are holy in one turn. And for that, you're summoning a bunch of random 3-cost minions. In addition to whatever effects you actually get. And really then, the biggest issue with that is most priest spells are not super meant to be played all in one turn. Like, a lot of priest stuff is more control-y. So maybe is Silvermoon Brochure? No, it's actually part of current expansion. Like, if you can make it so that this guy doesn't just die, like if you could keep it on board by protecting it repeatedly for multiple turns, the value obviously goes up. But I think you drop this on turn 3 and it dies. You drop this on turn 5 and play a single spell with it, and it dies right after that. You drop it on turn 10 and maybe play 2 or 3 spells with it, you've barely affected the board space, or the board state, rather. So I don't think it's that good. I could be wrong. I mean, You could duplicate it with power chord synchronized, so on turn 5 you could get 2-3 drops for the price of 5. Which is not bad. And theoretically you're giving then Cure stats so that it's not just a 3-3 for 3. And giving yourself another one of him so you can play him again later. I don't think it's bad. I think that it's just kind of like, if you can make the combo happen one turn in a game, you're getting a decent amount of value out of it, I guess. I mean, realistically, what I see happening every time that you play this is you drop it, you drop 1 or 2 spells, you get a couple of 3 drops, and hopefully the spells that you played correct the board state such that those 3 drops are like actually useful to you at that state or at that point in that game. Because if not, like, it's not that great. Interesting, though. I definitely would not count this guy out, but I also think that it's not an instant include in the same way that, like, a Skara is, right? Anyways, next up we got Divine Star. 2 mana spell, holy spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion, give a random minion in your hand plus 3 health. Okay. So this obviously synergizes then with Cure. To some extent, anyways. So you drop Cure, you play Divine Star, you kill one of your opponent's minions, you summon a random 3-drop, and you give a minion in your hand plus 3 health, and you do all that on turn 5. In a best case scenario, with all that, your opponent only has 1 3 health minion on the board, and then you got a ton of value out of this, but that's not generally how it works out. Just playing this card by itself, 2 mana for 3 damage is good. Give your minion in your hand plus 3 health is nice. Theoretically, if that hits Cure, or if it hits a Skara, or if it hits any other, I mean, that's almost always going to be useful. So, yeah, sorry, just to confirm, I think that's a pretty decent spell. Lightspeed, 2 mana, holy spell, give a minion +1, +2, and rush, repeatable this turn. Why don't they just call that Echo? Didn't that used to be called Echo? Am I insane? Is there not a spell effect called Echo? Hearthstone Echo is an ability where a card can be played multiple times in one turn. Yeah. Why call it repeatable this turn instead of just using the keyword Echo? That's so bizarre. I mean, it's fine. I could actually... You know what, though? Okay. Fun thought about Cure is you just play this on turn 9, play Lightspeed on it, play Lightspeed on every other 3-drop that it summons, and you got like 5... No, you got 5, 7, 9. You got 3 3-drops for free. Not for free, for whatever, 2 each. And 2 of those have rush in addition to Cure himself having rush. And +1, +2. That's a pretty good combo. It's a 2-card required combo. So I think that increases the value of Cure significantly. I also think this card just by itself is really good, but significantly better if you have it in your hand with Cure, actually. So, okay. I now think Cure is way better. Orbital Halo. 2 mana spell. Give a minion +2, +1, and Divine Shield. Costs 0 if you played an adjacent card this turn. Ooh, okay. So you play Cure, you play this, assuming that it was adjacent to Cure, because it costs 0, and then you play Lightspeed on whatever you just gave Divine Shield to also. Good card. Theoretically, if you're playing low curve Priest, all three of those cards synergize really well together. So I like it. That's all that I want to say about that. I'm actually, honestly, I'm just considering this combination of cards there, and I really like it. Like, I will probably play this, 3-drop, 3/3, Lightspeed, Orbital Halo, whatever else comes along with that. Cards to get those cards into my hand, and then probably copy them and so on. Because that is very fun. Probably really frustrating to play against. We already talked about this Draenei. And lastly is Gravity Lapse. 0 mana. Set every minion's attack and health to the lower of the 2. Oh. When it says every, I'm presuming that doesn't mean in every, like in the deck as well, or in the hand. I would presume, because you look at cards like Deathwing, whatever. Let me just look up a Deathwing, just for the sake of it. Wild. And let's look at Deathwing. It says all. Okay, none of these actually say every. I was thinking that one of them would say every, but none of them actually does. Can I look up the word every? Every card. I don't know. There's not really a precedent in my mind for cards that say every. Cast Inner Fire on every minion in your deck. This specifies in your deck. Okay. If Gravity Lapse affects deck and hand, it is insanely good. Because you could build a deck around, that Gravity Lapse is in your deck, and have cards that largely favor being even. Meaning that you've basically just screwed your opponent as soon as you draw this, because their minions go from like a 2/1 to a 1/1, or like a 5/2 to a 2/2. Like, it significantly benefits you, probably. If it only affects the board, it's way worse, but it's still not bad. It's not a holy spell, so it doesn't trigger Kure. I'm just thinking, Kure, that's not how you would pronounce this. This is like K-ur, which, obviously they're just writing like cure, but like, it wouldn't be Kure, because that would be like K-U''re. So don't shoot me for pronouncing it stupidly the whole time. Anyways, doesn't synergize really with that, aside from the fact that, it's a 3/3, and so it won't be affected by Gravity Lapse. Do I think this is good? As a way to essentially wipe your opponent's board, it could probably be fine. But it's not on the same level as, like, what's the stupid card for Paladin? Holy card. Not Holy Light. I mean, it could go really well with Holy Nova, but I'm thinking more... Oh, Consecration. Well, actually, Consecration, and then also the one that, like, reduces everything to, like, 1 health or whatever. Like, obviously that's better, but... Because the thing is, like, Gravity Lapse does nothing to any of the giants, right? Except for, I guess, is there a giant now that's like a reborn and so it's got less health? Does nothing to most of the giants. But it does do something significant to a lot of cards. So yeah, that's why I think, like, if it's everything, like, entire deck, you build your deck around this, you play this, you probably just win the game as soon as you played it, which means that it's too good. But if it's only board, I feel like it's borderline unplayable as removal, because you can't rely on the fact that it's just going to set your opponent's board to like low stats necessarily, right? I guess it's health total though, so you could also make the claim that you could attack into the opponent's minions first to then set their attack lower, but I don't think it's that good. If it's that. It's either entirely broken if it's one interpretation, or it's borderline useless if it's another interpretation. So I'm interested to know which one it actually is, I guess. But yeah, that's all the priest cards for this expansion. It took me way less time to go through those than it did the other ones. And I am interested to know your thoughts on this as well. If there is something that I said that you're thinking like, what the heck is he thinking? Like, that's obviously it's way different. Let me know. I'm really curious to know what other people think about gravity laps, because like I said, if it's board only, I think it's bad. If it is deck and everything, I think it's really good. But maybe I'm overvaluing even that. Because once again, it's not like people can't just run, more even minions. And probably a lot of people do, tend towards those. But interesting. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I will try and get the Hunter one of these done as well. And then there's this. So this makes it a little bit more difficult for me to just make this happen because they're revealing them in like an odd order. But yeah, I will try and get the Hunter one done because I think that they've revealed all Hunter cards already as soon as I can. I guess it looks like by the end of day October 16th, which is just the day after, well, tomorrow anyways, all the mage ones will be done, and then yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. I'm just kind of confused with this because obviously some have like way more reveals scheduled. So like are they going to reveal all of the warlock cards at once here? I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure that out when we get to it. I will end the video here, so yeah, just let me know what you guys think, and watch the next video if you feel like it.